you learn about yourself so much in combat, and you can only know what you're worth and who you are if you're good in combat if you go there.
So what you guys just watched was a small excerpt from a two-part interview I did with WillyOAM, and I'm sure you guys have heard of him. He's interviewed Aiden Aslan, Sean Penner, the two guys who were surrounded in Mariupol, were in Russian captivity for 6 months or 6 months plus. And he also interviewed me in a two-part series where I talk about Iraq, I talk about Ukraine, I talk about YouTube, where the money's going, a lot of different things. So I'm going to be showing a couple of the excerpts, a couple clips from the two interviews, altogether almost 4 hours long. And if you guys want to see, and I recommend it, if you guys want to see the full interviews, I'm going to link them in the description below. A lot of questions were answered in these interviews, and a lot of deep talks were had.
Into the earth, but they had bombed a jet bomb. There's a giant crater up right above our base in the mountain. And they were just smoking cigarettes, they said, and then the bomb hit. Then the cigarettes went flying, and they were like on the ground. They're like, oh shit, we're getting bombed. So they go to the positions, and then they bomb the positions. And then, they get knocked to the walls and stuff, but everybody survived.
So that clip was part of the first interview that we did, where we talked about the Marine Corps, YPG, YBS, and like all the other groups that I was part of before Ukraine. And right there, I was talking about some of the bombings that we had and telling you guys the full stories.
Yeah, I got deported from Singapore, and it was actually, I had arrived, and I was going to take a ferry to Indonesia. And I get to Singapore, and my passport is ripped up, because you always keep your passport, at least for me. I would keep it in my cargo pocket every single hour in Iraq and Ukraine, because if our position gets overrun or something, I don't want, my passport to be lost.
Yeah.
So you keep it on your body. And it got ripped up, it got bent, not much, but Singapore deported me because they said it was an invalid passport.
In this clip, we started to talk about the different repercussions I had from all the military trips I did in the past and how it's affected my daily life, since then, on YouTube, on, just traveling in general.
And they're bombing everywhere. Like they're bombing like every position in the mountains, outside the mountains, in the city, like everywhere. And then we hear like some more bombs that are kind of closer. And one of the bombs had ripped open the windows, like almost shattered them. And the drapes, there was like big drapes like this. It had like flown into my face. Like, it was a big boom. And at that point, my buddy looks at me. He's currently in Ukraine.
So yeah, like I said, we talk about all the different experiences, like almost every single one that I had in Iraq and everywhere. And I think it's interesting because, the bigger Iraq video that I had made, it's about 20 minutes long, made a couple months ago. I couldn't fit every single story in it, and I didn't catch everything on video. So being able to talk about that on his channel was really, really awesome.
And then someone like Sean, who was in Mariupol, and then, like, well, not KGB, but like equivalent KGB black site, you're like, what the fuck? Like, that's off Call of Duty, man. Like, you're trying to outrun the Russians by yourself, ducking and weaving through places to get captured and to have bloody, wired up to a battery and electrocuted. Like, what the fuck? That's insane.
Some sad stuff, man. Yeah, and everybody's got... Yeah, no, I saw that first when I was working at Apple Retail. That was my only job that I've ever had. It was Apple Retail, other than the military work. And yeah, I mean, you just talk to these people, they're buying an iPhone, but then they'll open up to you, and it's everybody has a story.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, I mean, he has interviewed freaking Ukrainian jet pilots. He's interviewed people who were in Russian captivity. There's foreign fighters, and we were just talking about the different stories that everybody has. I'm sure that most of you have stories that need to be told, and I was just given this lucky opportunity to go and talk about them.
And what was it like being with the Yazidi people? Are you respected as a Westerner coming there to fight for their land, or is there some like in between with tension?
Yeah, there's both. Obviously there's skepticism, right? Why are you here? Because a lot of these people, they stay here for 7 years or for their life, the Yazidis, right? And for the Westerners, it's an 8-month contract. I mean, a lot of them look at us bad, but that's the reason that I went there.
We go on with this conversation, but yeah, I do want to make the point that a lot of the Westerners that go to these countries and go to help, you have to think through the mind of the Ukrainian people or the Yazidi people in Iraq or whoever it is, the Kurds. And, they're skeptical. It's Americans coming to go and help. Okay, how many times have Americans came to these countries to help? It's a fascinating conversation to be had, and we did.
It seems like this is going to be on YouTube and your YouTube. How has that changed, I guess, your life? Has that made a big difference being like on YouTube, very public? I'm guessing there's some money that comes along with it. I don't know how much can be monetized of what you do, but how much does that influence things?
Yeah, man, no, it's only been the last maybe 2 months that my channel has gone above 100,000. So that's a big milestone. I mean, even before then, you know, the channel is good. How it's impacted me financially, it's been beneficial. A lot of the stuff is not monetized because it's combat footage.
Yeah.
But I do get benefits from that. But I do want to make it very clear. I think a lot of people, if they were to see my channel, they would think that it's like a war profiteering thing.
And I was also able to discuss about YouTube specifically. And if you were to go and watch the interview, you'll get a complete explanation of where this money is going, what I'm doing with this channel, and what the future is going to be for me. So that's about it from my end. I want you guys to go and check those interviews out if you're curious at all. I know that you guys have been asked for question and answer videos for a long time, so this is the one. I mean, it's 4 hours long, questions and answers. And please go to his channel, let him know that Civ did brought you there. I appreciate you guys, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.
What do you think is next for yourself?
Yeah, for myself, right now I'm chilling. I'm gonna get back home. I'm in Indonesia right now, traveling. I'm gonna go back home. I'm gonna spend some time with my family for Christmas, and then after that, I'm thinking about going back to Ukraine, not in a military.